Good morning. It is Thursday, February the 3rd, 2022. I am Pearson Bowen with the CBC Morning Report. The main challenge at the Dodds prison remains exposure of staff to COVID-19 outside of work. This from Home Affairs Minister Wilfred Abrams as he confirmed an outbreak at the correctional facility.
Recently, a staff member who works in the kitchen fell ill and tested positive for COVID-19. This resulted in the testing of all associated inmates and staff between Saturday, January 29th and Monday, January 31st. From that number, some 18 male inmates tested positive on their first test, and a further 26 received positive results today from their second test yesterday. At present, all of the positive inmates are stable and are isolated in the prison, while all those who have been in contact with them have been quarantined away from the rest of the prison population. So far, besides the initial positive prison officer who works in the kitchen, 2 other kitchen staff have tested positive, 1 male and 1 female. And this particular outbreak seems to be limited to the kitchen staff and kitchen work detail inmates primarily, and secondarily, the residential areas that the positive inmates are associated with. A decision was made to rapid test today's incoming shift of prison officers, and 5 positive results have been recorded. It would appear at this time that these new positives are not related to the kitchen outbreak, and while this is a concerning development, it is not surprising considering the prevailing positivity rate outside of the prison since Omicron's emergence.
Minister Abrams says he is happy to report that the prison operations have not been significantly affected. He added that since the outbreak of late 2020 into early 2021, policies relating to the manner in which prisoners are accepted at the facility have been boosted by COVID-19 protocols and vaccination of staff.
One of the major improvements at the correctional facility has been the training of staff there to do PCR and rapid testing, which has allowed the institution to catch many cases quite early and therefore prevent the spread into the prison population and the staff in general. This includes the not so infrequent discovery of COVID-19 in new admissions and remands.
We'll take a break right here on the CBC Morning Report, and we're back with more in just a moment. Barbados recorded 681 new COVID-19 cases on Tuesday. They were among the 2,600 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Lab. The new cases comprised 130 people under the age of 18. There were 171 people in isolation facilities and 10,543 in home isolation. A 60-year-old unvaccinated woman died at the Harrison Point facility on Tuesday, taking the death toll now to 282, and under the National Vaccination Program, 147,277 people are fully vaccinated. Belize Prime Minister John Berceno has contracted COVID-19 again. He's under quarantine and revealed that he tested positive for the Omicron variant when he was coming back into the country from his recent trip to Honduras.
I got the results last week when I get back from Honduras. I went to test simply because, well, when you come back, you're required to take a test. So I took a test. I had no symptoms then, and I have no symptoms now. So I guess I'm one of the lucky ones that I don't have a headache, I don't have a flu, I don't have anything. But I stay locked up in my room. I've been working here from Friday. So I just need to thank our Creator for protecting me.
We know that Omicron is a variant that spreads easily, but is there any moment in time where you can pinpoint that where you might have gotten it?
My brother's going to jump at me, but somehow I suspect that I probably got it from Jaime because last week, Saturday, we were traveling in the vehicle together. We had a meeting in Belize City. And so we were in the vehicle and both of us took off our masks. And then on Sunday morning, he called that, his throat is very raspy and his eyes were, a bit itchy. And I still went to see him, although, so we had a distance and kept our masks and it was outside. But I suspect that probably that happened on Saturday. But I repeat, no, I have no symptoms and I'm very, very grateful for that.
St. Lucia's education minister is hoping that students can return to the physical classroom in coming days. For the second week, the majority of students are using the distributed learning modality to receive instruction. We have a report now from HTS St. Lucia.
The Education Minister, Sean Edward, wants students back in the classroom as soon as possible. According to him, the physical classroom is the most effective modality for acquiring knowledge. Face-to-face instruction has had to be limited to certain student groups over the past 2 weeks, with the majority of students using the distributed learning modality.
At the end of the day, the decision is always influenced by the dynamics on the ground as it relates to COVID management. I'm on the record as stating that I believe that our students should be in school for face-to-face instruction as much as possible. Against the wishes of the St. Lucia Teachers Union, we did open schools on the 10th of January, but 3 days thereafter we had to bring that to a halt and revert to online learning. Our students have been home for the better part of a week and a half, 2 weeks now, and for me, I can't wait for them to be back in school for face-to-face instruction because I believe that this is the best modality as far as instruction is concerned.
The virtual classroom, says the minister, has not been an effective method for the island students to learn.
The online learning platform is there. This is what we have to use for the time being, but it has proven to be a very ineffective modality. But in the circumstances, this is the best we can do, and it is for this reason I've been advocating as much as possible for our children to be in school. We have to learn to live with COVID. In other jurisdictions in the Caribbean, they have been able to put measures in place.
COVID infections in the United States have dropped from last month's highs, but the virus is killing Americans at far higher rates than people in other wealthy nations.
From the start of December until now, the number of deaths per million has slowly grown, outstripping other developed nations. Look at the difference there. And as of Tuesday, just over 53 people per million are dying every week, compared to 36 in the UK, 18 in Belgium, and just 2 in Japan. Well, this may explain why. Over the same period, the U.S. lingers at the bottom of the same list of countries for percentage of people fully vaccinated. It has more who've only had a single jab than any other nation, and a larger share who have actually had no vaccine at all. Let's get more now from Shia Britansi in Washington, D.C. I mean, we've all got used to looking at COVID graphs, and sometimes you can interpret them in a variety of ways. But in the U.S., is that how it's being read? That it would seem obvious that the reason behind the spike in deaths is the fact that a lot of people, or not enough people, are vaccinated?
That's certainly the conclusion of the New York Times. We're getting these statistics from a statistical comparative analysis of the US and other countries, and the inference that they're making clearly is, well, look at this graph and look at this graph. Let me develop some of those themes then. I mean, I would drown you in numbers, but one of the headline numbers was the share of Americans who've been killed by the coronavirus since December the 1st, when the first case of Omicron was discovered, is at least 63% higher than in any other large, wealthy nation, according to this New York Times study. In fact, in recent months, the US has passed Britain and Belgium to have, among rich nations, the largest share of its population to have died of COVID over the entire pandemic. Couple more figures, though. The Americans are now dying from COVID at nearly double the daily rate of Britons, 4 times the rate of Germans. And the only large European countries to exceed America's COVID death rates this winter have been Russia, Ukraine, Poland, Greece, and the Czech Republic, poorer nations where the best COVID treatments, vaccinations, and so on are scarce. So this is where it comes to. So why is this happening? Omicron, theoretically, leads to milder infections, fewer hospitalizations, and fewer deaths. We also have wide availability of the vaccine in the US. So that's where that inference comes in the New York Times report. Now they're going to look at the level of vaccination, particularly amongst the most vulnerable populations. So just 12% of Americans 65 and over have not received either 2 shots of Moderna, Pfizer, or the 1 shot of the Johnson & Johnson, their initial vaccination. And when you look at booster numbers, 43% of people 65 and over have not received a booster shot. And the comparison they use there is, in England, 4% of people over 65 have not been fully vaccinated, and only 9% don't have a booster shot. So that's a pretty stark statistic on vaccinations. Clearly, they're making that inference. The good news, as you mentioned, though, is the 7-day average has been plummeting. That's that Omicron spike that we saw in the UK and elsewhere. Huge, steep upwards. Equally steep downwards now underway, are down 50% now for the 7-day average, 70% where Omicron was first felt, for example, in New York, New Jersey. The scary bit, though, is deaths lag that average of cases. And a lot of the places in the US that lately experienced Omicron are also the states where vaccination rates are low.
The Prime Minister of Tonga has announced a lockdown of his nation of 106,000 people after it recorded its first cases of community transmission of COVID-19.
Humanitarian aid has been arriving through the port after last month's underwater volcanic eruption and tsunami. Tonga had not reported any cases before the natural disaster. Well, earlier, my colleague Darian Abugeda spoke to Drew Javier, the Vice President of Tonga Red Cross, and asked how the new infections were found.
What I know, we had 2 cases of people who were working at the wharf in unloading stuff from the ship. I think they were going through standard testing, and where they have found 2 were positive. And the government is working very quickly to try to make sure that this is contained. But I think at the moment, not officially announced, but we know there's about 5 cases. So we hope that the cases don't increase, as the government hopes that in the next 48 hours they will be able to make sure that they got all the people that was associated, contacted.
How will this lockdown that's now been announced by the government affect the recovery operation in Tonga that is still very much underway and very much needed?
Definitely very much, but the government is allowing essential services to be continuing. Those who are out working on the response, you have to be fully vaccinated and you have to be tested to make sure that there's no more spreading.
The morning report continues in just a moment. Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Kirk Humphrey has taken his oath of office. He was sworn in last evening at State House. Minister Humphrey, who was unable to attend last week's official ceremony owing to illness, says he's feeling much better and ready to get to work for the people. He intends to transform the sector.
For me, some of the urgent priorities are restructuring the ministry. We have, as one of our important mandates as a government, to be able to make social services more acceptable to the people who need them. So we intend to amalgamate all the various departments to form a Department of Family Services, where people who have to access these services feel as if they're given a fair deal. You know, many people complain, as it stands now, when they interact with departments that they're not treated well. Those are some of the things that I intend to address. The Social Services Department have to treat people as a priority.
Humphrey says there's nothing to be disappointed about as it relates to the blue economy, which is now merged with the green economy.
The reality is that in the last few years, Barbados actually established itself as a leader in this space. Do we need to have a separate blue economy ministry to do so? No. Do we need to maintain focus on it? Yes. And I think we haven't lost the focus, and I believe that Barbados will continue to see that we've done tremendous work and will be doing tremendous work. I am given the assurance that Minister Ford will be able to continue the work that I started and build on it and even do more amazing work in some regards than that which I've done. So Barbados should not feel disappointed. I think the blue economy is in safe hands.
The artistic community is once again rallying around one of its own who has been diagnosed with cancer. Veteran dancer and former manager of the Frank Collymore Hall, Fran Wickham Jacobs, has been diagnosed with stage 3 myeloma, a type of blood cancer. Sharika Griffith has the details.
She had planned to start back doing her painting, and she is a fantastic cook, and she wanted to do catering. However, that was not to be.
An emotional Cynthia Ralston speaking of the plans her cousin and friend Fran Wickham shared on retirement after nearly 15 years as manager of Frank Collymore Hall. But pain in her back and legs, which started a few months ago, affected her ability to walk, and the diagnosis that followed changed everything.
Finally, when she went for the MRI, it was diagnosed as multiple myeloma. She had fractures of the vertebra, what I just said, and lesions on the spine. She had 2 blood transfusions. She's due for radiation. The medicine, 1 pill alone was $700, believe it or not. And it's very, very expensive.
Myeloma is a type of blood cancer that develops from plasma cells in the bone marrow. It has left Wickham bedridden and in need of 24-hour nursing care. Charity organization Wi-Fi, which stands for What If It, is now on a mission to raise $200,000 to assist the leader of the 4-day morning band, One Trini and Abajan. Founding members of Wi-Fi, Shade Leon Slinger and Eleanor Rice, revealed plans for 2 fundraising events featuring local dancers, entertainers, and fine artists.
The first benefit show, entitled Dance and Jazz, is scheduled for Sunday, February 13th, 2022, while the second show, entitled Spooge and Calypso, is reserved for Saturday, February 19th, 2022.
Dance in Africa is going to be at both shows. They open both shows. We have Desmond Weeks, Ishaka McNeil, Adrian Clark, and Colin Spencer singing Spooge. Then we have Blood, Darnella, Ian Webster, TC, Gabby, RPB, Nikita, and Jude Clark.
And the first beneficiary of Wi-Fi, cancer survivor Antoine Williams, lent his voice to the call for support.
I would want for us as artists, as Barbadian, the public, corporate Barbados also, to share in the journey, even though you may be distant, but to share in the journey. Fran has given all that she has to our community, and it is only fitting that we give back to her.
The COVID monitoring unit has already granted permission for the events. The numbers allowed at the venue will be determined by the unit and prevailing protocols. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Sharika, thank you. Barbados has again recorded strong growth in its captive insurance sector. President of the Barbados International Business Association, Derek Cummins, says in 2021, the sector grew from 279 companies to 308, more than doubling the number of new companies from the previous year. He says while there has been a concern about the global minimum tax rate and its impact on the country's ability to attract global business, taxation is just one parameter considered when selecting a domicile. Cummins says regulation, infrastructure and perception of the jurisdiction are also factors, and Barbados continues to be very competitive in those areas.
We have the infrastructure and the ability to get work done. And within infrastructure, and regulation, obviously we mentioned the legislation. And also then the perception of the jurisdiction. Just last week, we were talking about Barbados climbing on the World Corruption Perception Index, rising there and continuing to be the #1 jurisdiction in the Caribbean and being the #3 in Latin America. So we continue to hit all the right parameters, all the right indicators that make Barbados an attractive domicile for not just international business, but specifically captive insurance.
Well, Mr. Cummins was speaking during a media launch of the Barbados Risk and Insurance Management Conference scheduled for March. That conference is expected to attract over 200 industry professionals and utilize a hybrid format of virtual and in-person meetings.
We want to assure all participants that we're going to do this in a safe manner. So while we acknowledge that there is a risk, we are trusting in the science, and we do expect the peak of the current Omicron surge to be well behind us by late March. We are also committed to keeping delegates of BRIM 2022 as safe as possible, and therefore only fully vaccinated participants will be permitted to attend the in-person conference. We have also had discussions with the Hilton that this conference will be serviced by only fully vaccinated staff.
The United States is sending 2,000 additional soldiers to Europe and repositioning another 1,000 from Germany to Romania to ensure what is being termed as a robust defense of European NATO members. It is in response to the ongoing impasse between Russia and Ukraine.
After ramping up the possibility for weeks of a Russian invasion of Ukraine, the White House on Wednesday downgraded that threat from President Vladimir Putin, saying an invasion is no longer imminent.
I used that once. I think others have used that once, and then we stopped using it because I think it sent in a message that we weren't intending to send, which was that we knew that President Putin had made a decision.
Still, the United States is sending more troops to Eastern Europe. Some of the forces will be repositioned to Romania. Others will be coming from the United States to Poland and Germany. It's a response to President Putin, who has positioned tens of thousands of troops inside Russia near Ukraine's border.
It's important that we send a strong signal to Mr. Putin and, frankly, to the world that NATO matters to the United States. It matters to our allies. And we have ironclad Article 5 commitments. An attack on one is an attack on all.
The roughly 3,000 troops will bolster the NATO presence in Europe and are in addition to the 8,500 U.S. troops put on standby last month by U.S. President Joe Biden. The United States maintains diplomacy is the best path to resolving security disagreements. Russia wants assurances NATO will halt expansion into former Soviet republics like Ukraine. But the West won't provide that guarantee. Instead, Biden's promised severe consequences if Putin invades.
back. He has shown no signs of being interested or willing to de-escalate the tensions.
The U.S. forces will reinforce NATO's eastern flank, working with host countries, as NATO has not yet activated its response force to counter what it refers to as Russian aggression.
I think there's a bargaining aspect to what they're doing, which is to put something on the table that can be taken away, a chit, if you will, in exchange for Russian non-aggression against Ukraine.
Despite no new Russian threat and no signs of an imminent invasion of Ukraine, the Pentagon says the movement of troops could begin soon, and there could be the possibility of even more troop movements in the future.
In sports now, the West Indies men are getting ready to take on India after an exciting 3-2 victory over the #1 ranked team in the world, England, in the T20 series at Kensington Oval, which ended last weekend. Damien Best reviews our recent success. At the moment, at 6, Barbados under partly cloudy conditions with a temperature of 24.4 degrees Celsius, and the winds are coming from the east at 20 kilometers per hour. Expect a low tide at 19 past 11 this morning, the next at 8 minutes to midnight, and a high tide around 25 minutes to 6 this evening. Seas today, swells are predicted to be smooth to moderate in open water, swells ranging up to 2 meters but increasing. So in the forecast today for Barbados, mostly sunny with a few brief isolated light showers. And for Barbados forecast tonight, a mix mostly fair at first, becoming a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief isolated light showers. Here's a look at some weather forecasts for international cities. And that's it for today's edition of the CBC Morning Report. Remember to join us for more news at 12 noon in the CBC Newsday. I'm Pearson Bowen. Morning Barbados starts now.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning.
I join in saying good morning to you everyone, everywhere. Welcome to today, Thursday, February the 3rd, 2022. Yes, the time is going so swiftly by, but it's wonderful as always every morning to have you company. Those of you here on the island and those of you elsewhere across the globe as well, waking up to watch us every day. Keep company with us really on our YouTube channel and our Facebook streams. Thank you for joining with us. Remember to interact with us on our Facebook page, Mornin Barbados, and on CBC Barbados as well. Grateful for your interaction, grateful for your comments, and also grateful for your company indeed. Before we get further into the show, let me remind you, today being the 3rd, you have until the 9th to get that 1-minute video in as part of our Valentine's promotion. We're running just the two of us. It's a 1-minute video which we're asking you, you lovely couples, to do. There it is. Make that video telling us your love story. Send that 1-minute video via WhatsApp to 467-5465. 467-5465 with your name and your contact details. You have until the 9th of February. You could stay there at Infinity on the Beach, just there in beautiful St. Lawrence, and it's going to be a wonderful day. So get your videos in very soon so that we can look at it, we can assess, and we'll have a winner on February the 11th. That's when we do our big show for Valentine's. So look out for that and a whole lot more straight ahead. Now, today being Thursday, we'll share with you the story of a young man. He's only 15 years old, a student of Harrison College. But for him, football is a way to a better life. We'll talk to him about that as well. We'll share with you one young lady who wants to show the world through her designs. And now she's a nominee in the Gainon Awards for 2022. Who is she? And what are those designs? Her brilliance, we'll share with you this Thursday morning. We'll be joined too by Brittany Seeley and Crystal Austin as we take a look at careers for the future student. What does that mean? It's just ahead of the launch of it, and we want you to hear more about it, especially you young people, as you build your career paths. Look out for that opportunity. The St. Michael's School is having a fundraiser this weekend. They're raising funds to effect greater change to the plant and bring more comfort to the students of that school as well. And so we'll be hearing more about what that is and how you can engage with it. Have you ever heard of Fishbowl conversations? Have you ever really heard of Fishbowl conversations? We'll hear about it today with the National Transformation Initiative and the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries come together to provide opportunities for people to join in those Fishbowl conversations. Young people too. So look out for that opportunity a little later on. But let's get started by looking and sharing and celebrating the most original act in the Parish Talent segment at the recently concluded Spirit of the Nation show. It hails from St. George, and we're glad to be joined this morning by Raquan Hines, who now holds that title. Raquan, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Pearson.
And how do you do today, Raquan?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. Now, yours is one that says you want to give the youth's point of view. You've always felt that way. Spoken word is your playground. So talk to me a little bit about what it means for you to have been identified as having the most original act in the Spirit of the Nation show.
It honestly means a lot to me to be acknowledged as that. For when I did the piece, My Barbadian Identity, I first envisioned it as original, nothing but that. And I was out to show a perspective of how I feel and how I would think many other people with different various perspectives feel about their identity and the coming changes and how they experience it and exposure to that and how, as I say, it will affect their identity and how they see themselves.
How do you see yourself? What is your Barbadian identity?
Well, I see my Barbadian identity as something that is still in work, still in craftsmanship, because every day is a learning experience and that experience of creating myself. As of now, I'm not finished.
Yeah, that's right. It's a work in progress. It's always a work in progress. When you consider how other Barbadians around you behave and what you think for them will be their mirror image, do you get a sense that Barbadians really understand their identity?
No, please.
Really? So where are we falling short?
By thinking that we're finished. By thinking, like, I see that when you think that you're finished, you're actually lost. You're actually walking into a trap door because, as I said, every day is a learning experience. And every day you learn something new.
So what else? So you think we need to continually learn, we need to be continually open to new experiences so we develop as a people. What's the next stage of our development as you see it, Raquan? What else do you think we have to, that stage we need to get to faster?
I believe it's building our conscious. From the age of the Renaissance to now, we need to just develop our consciousness and just grow.
And you don't think we have that already?
Yes, please, but not to the extent that I believe that it should be at.
So how do we go about getting there, in your opinion?
Knowledge.
Where do we get
gaining more knowledge, surroundings, our environment. As I say, building our identity, it starts from where you're from. You have to see around and see how certain things affect your growth or affect the environment itself and so society as itself of a community.
And see yourself as part of the building of that community and not a part of the destruction of that community. So if you see the opportunity, see it as an opportunity to do better, to make better. How many years have you been doing poetry now, doing spoken word?
Approximately about 6 to 7 years.
So what got you
Always
started?
loved the arts and poetry.
Yeah, tell me.
I honestly can't remember. I have always been a fan of writing. Got that from my mom. Always been a fan of writing. I guess it developed into, as you put in your emotions into the pen, and you become, as I say, a journalist of society, and everything you see, you will put that down in a form that you see it and how you paint the image. I am just a painter of words, I believe.
You said you got it from your mother. What is it that you saw your mother doing that inspired you to do it too? What was she doing?
Well, pushing me in terms of creative writing and compositions from primary school. My mother will always push me in terms of making that composition or that piece that I write to the fullest extent it could be. More either creative, descriptive. She would always have me to push in more, and I guess coming along I always develop that in everything I write and everything I do. Always try to excel and be the best in that.
And you took that same attitude into secondary school. You went to the grade in Sealy, and while there you were continuing to write because you entered NIFCA at different points in time. Talk to me a little bit about that journey through NIFCA and the performances there.
NIFCA was a whole different experience. It was a new experience it was the first time coming on there at that age. So being that I am not old, would think I wouldn't be nervous, but indeed I was anxious, stage, the spotlight. But as I grew and progressed, I guess I got a kind of a thrilling rush from the audience, and even myself standing on top of stage presenting myself, giving the word or something that I believe in, presenting my point. I guess sharing my views, it kinds of weighs over the anxiety.
Yes.
Yes, please.
So what do you want to do now with this art of yours, this skill of yours? Because you're writing and you're performing, but then at the end of the day, where does that piece of paper on which you've written your work go? Where does it go? Are you compiling a book eventually?
That is in my plans, future plans. But however, at the moment, it's just to gain more exposure and to grow, spread my wings and see how far I can.
So what's Raquan's short-term plan for Raquan?
Building up my identity, I believe.
What do you
make
think
sure that my character...
Go ahead.
I was just saying to make sure that my character is solid. That when I lay on a foundation, when I start to build, I will not crumble.
What do you think that would require of you, Raquan, to make your foundation, your character's foundation solid?
as I said before, is to gain more knowledge and keep building, crafting on that knowledge until you're as sharp as steel.
All right. So on the night that you were announced as having the most original act, were you there? I'm trying to remember because it seems like so long ago for me. Were you in the Frank Cullimore Hall or were you watching?
I was in the hall.
You were in the hall. So when your
yes,
go ahead. So when your name was announced, Raquan having the most original act, talk to me a little bit about how it felt to hear your name called.
I actually didn't realize my name was called. Like, so my girlfriend had to look over to me and was like, "You getting called?" And it was like, "I getting called," because I originally came into this show trying to prove or just to give my perspective on my identity and how I see it as surrounding community. But upon doing semi-finals and then grand rehearsals, I was told that my piece is fairly too long and I had to edit. But I craft my piece in a way that, like, if I took out any, it would crumble. I laid the foundation as a puzzle. So I believe I just went hard. I was like, if I can lose 6 marks, if I can lose 6 points, I could best lose 6 points and do a pretty good job with it. So I honestly wasn't looking for the most original act.
Well, you did a pretty good job with it, as you said. So you were assessed by the judges to have the most original act, and congratulations to you on that. I'm hearing lots of feathered friends in the background. You live in an area where, or are you raising chickens or anything?
I live in the country, so yes, please.
I like it. What part are you in?
St. George.
I love the sound of the country. There's nothing like it at all. It wakes up your spirit and it tells you life is on, life is going, things are happening. Raquan, thank you so much. Vereen Walker is saying today on our Facebook stream, well done, Mr. St. George. We're proud of you. Keep reaching for the stars. So people are already very, very proud immensely. Congrats, son, from your Barbados Youth Service family. This is from Cecilia Neblett. She's wishing you the very best indeed. So clearly, you have a fan base, you have people who know you well and who are prepared to support you as you continue to build this foundation in your character. And through that, you're continuing to put out great work and having far more impact in our community as well. So, Raquan Hines, all the best to you. Thank you so much for coming through this morning. We congratulate you and we wish you only the very best as one of our exceptional young men. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson.
You're very welcome indeed. Raquan Hines, the most original act at the Spirit of the Nation show in the Parish Talent segment. Support him as he continues to grow, has his head in the right place. We're going to come back with even more here on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The National Training Initiative, in association with the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries, have come together to provide an opportunity through the Fishbowl conversations for such interaction under the theme Unleashing Your Full Potential, Equipped for Excellence. Unleashing Your Full Potential, Equipped for excellence. Join me to talk about now this upcoming series of Fishbowl Conversations. Under that theme is Marcel Greenidge, who is the Assistant Director of the COSERA Communications and Client Success with NTI. And with her is Ashley Phillips, Branding and Communications Consultant with the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Pearson.
Thank you so much for joining us this
you?
morning. I'm well. Thank you for asking. How do you do?
I am wonderful. Lovely to see you again.
As always, it's always to see you too, indeed. Now, here we are. We're having these fishbowl conversations. And I teased at the beginning because I know people have questions as to what does that mean when you say a fishbowl conversation? What is it?
So Fishbowl Conversation is an initiative that was started by the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries, which you'll hear me call BCSI for short after this. And it was started in 2019 as a way to connect with our membership and to discuss timely topics with them and the public in a forum that is a bit more relaxed than, let's say, a different kind of webinar or a forum. So it was then revived during the pandemic to speak about retooling, mental health. And last year, we also had a high-level webinar featuring members from the Economic Commission of Latin America and the Caribbean, and touched with membership from the United Nations Conference for Trade and Development.
You know, when I think of this, sorry.
When you think of a fishbowl, right?
Yes, well, there you go. You're thinking like me now. When I think of a fishbowl, go ahead.
Yeah, so when you think of a fishbowl, you think about a community basically all in one pot, kind of like how it is on the island. You know, we are impacted by external things, but truly we are all together, and the different elements within a fishbowl all affect everyone living in it.
Yes.
So having a fishbowl conversation is about having talks and discussions that affect the community directly and seeing how we can impact locally within our bowl what needs to happen going forward to keep that bowl healthy, keep the water clean, you know, keep everybody living within it.
Precisely. That's exactly what I was going to go to draw that analogy that you sometimes sit and you gaze upon a fish tank or fish bowl and you look at the fish, you're wondering, okay, but you're different sizes, you're different species, yet you coexist and you benefit from each other, the collaborative, and that's what it's about. And that's also part of the initiative of the National Training Initiative, to be able to bring together and to enhance the skill sets that already exist. So from your point of view, Marcel, it's a natural fit.
It's an absolutely natural fit for the National Transformation Initiative. We saw the opportunity to have the conversation with the BCSI, and we've taken that chance in terms of the kind of work that we can do together to service both those members of the BCSI, but also the wider community. We want to ensure that we can provide the level of transformation through training that enhances the skills of Barbadians. And I want to take the opportunity to actually lead on from what Raquan Hines was saying, where he talked about citizenship, because the National Transformation Initiative is really built around a citizenship and character transformation framework, not only just skill building. And our flagship citizenship course is ideally suited to what he's talking about, not just for himself, but for as an artist, but for all Barbadians. So I was really pleased to hear what he was saying about his own personal goals. But that is something that we want to extend from primary school all the way through to adult citizens in Barbados.
And coming back to the fish bowl again, using that analogy, you know, when you see fish in the bowl, each of them knows exactly who they are. You know you're the goldfish, you know you're the whatever species, and you boldly and confidently do you. And that's I think, part of what the conversation about as you look at unleashing your full potential, recognizing who you are and what you are, and preparing for the next stage, which is excellence. So let's talk a little bit about how this whole series of Fishbowl Conversations will unfold. Who and how, when we get together, will we be learning from and leaning on? Let's start with you, Ashley.
Okay, so you'll have membership, of course, from the BCSI, NTI, and Gainan, who's actually having their voting open right now for their awards ceremony. We wanted to make sure that we got in touch with the youth. So thank you so much to the National Transformation Initiative for bringing them on board. And then our featured speaker is Mr. Zaid Badwan, who is the director of who's the director of the courses from Coursera, director of customer success, at Coursera. So he is our featured speaker, and he will basically be taking us through what the partnership between the NTI and Coursera have been trying to have started during the pandemic to make sure that our Barbadian citizens are skilled in the ways that they need to be and have all the tools that they can for success. The BCSI also does a showcase called Firefly, focusing on emerging talent across the sectors of music, art, and fashion. So for today's segment, we are focusing heavily on the cultural and creative industries during this talk. So we encourage people within those sectors to come, not to retool, but as Marcel correctly said, to enhance the skills that you already have, because there is a business aspect, of course, to the creative economy that needs to be addressed and make sure that you are prepared.
So today at 6 this evening is on what platforms can we engage?
You can engage on the Facebook page of the BCSI or on the NTI social media pages.
All right. I know before, Marcel, when we met, the National Transformation Initiative is not just for young people alone, it's for any age. And these conversations are for all of the skill sets, but it's also for any age. Am I right?
We encourage anyone who is able to go on to the social media, onto our platform to engage in our courses. There are courses that are pitched at a beginner level, and for those who may be more advanced, they're intermediate as well as advanced level courses. So while we may assume that it is for adults, we really encourage teenagers, some of them who may be doing other courses of study but who want to enhance that knowledge. Some may use it to build out skills that may not be taught in schools at all, so that they can actually improve on whatever it is that is most immediate to their needs. And we want to ensure that both the professional development takes place, but also personal development along with business development. So there really is a wide range of skills and opportunities available. As Ashley mentioned, we are also in partnership right now with the Guynon 2022 People's Choice Awards. So it really is a natural convergence of the role of the NTI in serving the needs of those in the creative sector. And we really want to encourage them as well to, as Ashley did, to join us this afternoon so that they can benefit from the information that will be shared by Zaid Badwan, as well as the team from Guynon, DJ and Empress Singer.
Mm-hmm. So Ashley, the Coalition of Service Industries, is it by membership, first of all, and therefore is that membership expected to show up, or can anyone who is not yet a member of the BCSI also benefit from these series of Fishbowl conversations?
These Fishbowl conversations are public, so while it is intended for our membership, we welcome anyone to attend, whether you belong to an association or not. So just to explain a bit further what BCSI is, we're a national umbrella body bringing together all the service sector organizations and associations. So whether you are in, let's say, the Association of Medical Practitioners, you're an architect, you're in somewhere like BACA, all of the professional services fall under our alliance. But for Fishbowl, we are not just catering to our members, we are also catering to the general public. So we encourage everyone to attend, and it is public. It's on our social media pages. So once you go to facebook.com/BCSI246, you can find us and you can join in on the conversation. And we look forward to hearing from a diverse audience this evening.
So this evening at 6 o'clock. So when is the next one? So for anyone who said, shoot, I have church tonight at 6. I can't make that one. When is the next? Talk to us about the series, the dates and so forth. What else is straight ahead?
Okay, so if you miss 6 o'clock because you have another engagement, you have to get home from work, whatever the case is, it will be recorded. So you will be able to log on to either the NTI social media pages or the BCSI's pages and access that information at a later time. So do not worry. You are completely covered if you miss it. We encourage you to join live so that you can participate in our Q&A section and ask any relevant questions. However, if you miss it, it will be recorded. And then we'll be announcing dates soon for our second one, which it will be coming within the coming months.
Let's talk about Coursera now. This is where you sit, Miss Marcel. These courses that are available, let's talk a little bit about what those transformative courses are about so that folks watching today can again remind and refresh themselves to be a part of the initiative.
Pearson, we have a combination of courses, those that were created by Barbadians for Barbadians, and that is where you will find, among other courses, our most recent edition, the Personal Financial Management course, but that flagship citizenship course as well, which is really developed in gender active citizenship for among Barbadians. But alongside the indigenous courses are the courses that are provided by Coursera, and both of those sets of courses sit on our platform training.nti.org.bb, training.nti.org.bb, and those are courses that range from those developed by some of the most prestigious universities in the world, whether it's Johns Hopkins, Harvard, Columbia. There is a range of institutions that are available to anyone who goes on. It's not like you have to now pay for an online course or you have to register with a university. They are all sitting on the NTI Coursera platform. For those who are coming this afternoon, who, for example, may be interested in music, there are courses from Berklee College of Music. But then there are also courses from places like IBM, Google, Cisco, Facebook, where people want to, for example, develop their professional skills. They have the opportunity to do that. There is a range of global institutions that are on the platform, and that people who are interested in learning more about their particular area of study, or they may want to pivot into a new area of business or accomplishment, they're all there, and they have already been paid for by the government of Barbados and are available to all of its citizens.
Indeed.
Anyone in Barbados can log on.
Indeed. So you can go to training.nti.org.bb. But remember, today's Fishbowl conversation starts at 6 this evening. It's on the social media platforms of the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries, 246. And of course, it's also on the NTI's Facebook page too. So let's avail ourselves of these opportunities through those Fishbowl conversations to learn from the featured speaker, Zaid Badwan, Director of Customer Experience there. And we will also be connecting with Gainon Awards people, Empress Zinga and DJ Simmons. So there's a lot to learn through these conversations. There's a lot of building up that will come through that, and most of all, the transformation that we'll obtain when you join the Coursera courses as well. Thanks both of you ladies for joining us this morning. I hope that you are bombarded beyond measure with this evening's Fishbowl conversations and beyond. Ashley Phillips, who is with the Branding and Communications Consultant with the BCSI, and Marcel Greenwich, Assistant Director, Coursera Communications and Client Services with the NTI as well. Thank you, ladies. All the best.
Thank you so much, Jason.
You're very welcome. Folks, it's this evening at 6 o'clock, today, February 3rd at 6 o'clock on those social media platforms. We're taking a break here. We're coming back with the news right after.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, here's what's happening in the news now. The main challenge at the Dodds prison remains the exposure of staff to COVID-19 outside of work. This was revealed by Home Affairs Minister Wilfred Abrams, who confirmed an outbreak at the correctional facility.
Recently, a staff member who works in the kitchen fell ill and tested positive for COVID-19. This resulted in the testing of all associated inmates and staff between Saturday, January 29th and Monday, January 31st. From that number, some 18 male inmates tested positive on their first test, and a further 26 received positive results today from their second test yesterday. At present, all of the positive inmates are stable and are isolated in the prison, while all those who have been in contact with them have been quarantined away from the rest of the prison population. So far, besides the initial positive prison officer who works in the kitchen, 2 other kitchen staff have tested positive, 1 male and 1 female. And this particular outbreak seems to be limited to the kitchen staff and kitchen work detail inmates primarily, and secondarily, the residential areas that the positive inmates are associated with. A decision was made to rapid test today's incoming shift of prison officers, and 5 positive results have been recorded. It would appear at this time that these new positives are not related to the kitchen outbreak, and while this is a concerning development, it is not surprising considering the prevailing positivity rate outside of the prison since Omicron's emergence.
Minister Abrams says he's happy to report that the prison operations have not been significantly affected, and he adds that since the outbreak of 2020 into early 2021, policies relating to the manner in which prisoners are accepted at the facility have been bolstered by vaccination and COVID-19 protocols.
One of the major improvements at the correctional facility has been the training of staff there to do PCR and rapid testing, which has allowed the institution to catch many cases quite early and therefore prevent the spread into the prison population and the staff in general. This includes the not so infrequent discovery of COVID-19 in new admissions and remands.
Barbados recorded 681 new cases of COVID-19 on Tuesday. They were among 2,600 tests conducted by the Best Dos Santos Public Health Lab. The new cases comprised 130 people under the age of 18. There were 171 people in isolation facilities and 10,543 in home isolation. A 60-year-old unvaccinated woman died at the Harrison Point facility on Tuesday, taking the death toll now to 282. Under the vaccination program, 147,277 people are fully vaccinated. Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Kirk Humphrey has taken his oath of office. He was sworn in last evening at State House. Minister Humphrey, who was unable to attend last week's official ceremony owing to illness, says he's feeling much better and is ready to get to work for the people. He intends to transform the sector.
For me, some of the urgent priorities are restructuring the ministry. We have, as one of our important mandates as a government, to be able to make social services more acceptable to the people who need them. So we intend to amalgamate all the various departments to form a Department of Family Services, where people who have to access these services feel as if they're given a fair deal. You know, many people complain, as it stands now, when they interact with departments that they're not treated well. Those are some of the things that I intend to address. The Social Services Department have to treat people as a priority.
Minister Humphrey says there's nothing to be disappointed about as it relates to the blue economy, which is now being merged with the green economy.
The reality is that in the last few years, Barbados actually established itself as a leader in this space. Do we need to have a separate blue economy ministry to do so? No. Do we need to maintain focus on it? Yes. And I think we haven't lost the focus, and I believe that Barbados will continue to see that we've done tremendous work and will be doing tremendous work. I am given the assurance that Minister Ford will be able to continue the work that I started and build on it and even do more amazing work in some regards than that which I've done. So Barbados should not feel disappointed. I think the blue economy is in safe hands.
Barbados has again recorded strong growth in the captive insurance sector. President of the Barbados International Business Association, Derek Cummins, says in 2021, the sector grew from 279 companies to 308, more than doubling the number of new companies from the previous year. He says while there has been concern about the global minimum tax rate and its impact on the country's ability to attract global business, taxation is just one parameter considered when selecting a domicile. Cummins says regulation, infrastructure and perception of the jurisdiction are also factors, and Barbados continues to be very competitive in each.
We have the infrastructure and the ability to get work done. And within infrastructure, and regulation, obviously we mentioned the legislation, and also then the perception of the jurisdiction. Just last week, we were talking about Barbados climbing on the World Corruption Perception Index, or rising there and continuing to be the #1 jurisdiction in the Caribbean and being the #3 in Latin America. So we continue to hit all the right parameters, all the right indicators that make Barbados an attractive domicile for not just international business, but specifically captive insurance.
Mr. Cummins was speaking during the media launch of the Barbados Risk and Insurance Management Conference scheduled for March. That conference is expected to attract over 200 industry professionals and will utilize a hybrid format of virtual and in-person meetings.
We want to assure all participants that we're going to do this in a safe manner. So while we acknowledge that there is a risk, we are trusting in the science, and we do expect the peak of the current Omicron surge to be well behind us by late March. We are also committed to keeping delegates of BRIM 2022 as safe as possible, and therefore only fully vaccinated participants will be permitted to attend the in-person conference. We have also had discussions with the Hilton that this conference will be serviced by only fully vaccinated staff.
Well, that's our news until now. We'll take a break here on Morning Barbados, and we're back with more in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Time now on Morning Barbados to share with you what we hope will be for you a good decision of the day. All week long, we've been looking at ways to help your child build good judgment. And so today on day 4, we are at number 4, which is to encourage your child to reflect on their experience. When your child brings home a report card with low grades, ask them what they think went wrong. Talk about things they could have done differently help them formulate a plan to make the problem less likely to happen again. So when your child brings home a report card with low grades, don't shout and carry on. We know it, yeah, you could have done better. I thought you had whatever. No, just ask them what they think went wrong. Ask them for their feedback. Ask them what they think went wrong. Talk with them about those things that they could have done differently and help them then to formulate a plan to make the problem less likely to happen again. So instead of screaming and shouting, feeling disappointed, being upset with the child, just have that conversation very calmly and encourage them to reflect on the experience so that they can share with you what they think probably went wrong so that they, together with you, can build a plan for what will go right next time. Let that be your good decision of today. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hear more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
I think we are all proud of the school at which we attended, and I am sure this morning you, if you went to the St. Michael's School, will be equally proud of what comes from the St. Michael's School. So, with love, the SMS are having a virtual fundraiser this weekend, this Saturday, as a matter of fact. And joining us to talk a little bit more about that and the why and the when and the how is Crystal Austin, who is the president of the Parent-Teacher Association at the St. Michael's School. Good morning to you, Crystal.
Hi, good morning, Pearson. Long time. How are you?
Indeed, long time, but I'm well. Thank you for asking. How do you do?
I am well, thanks.
Now, you're an Alexandra girl, but you're the president of the Parent-Teacher Association because naturally you have a child who goes to the St. Michael's School or would have gone to the St. Michael's School. But school pride is something else. And the Cougars of the St. Michael's School have been known for excellence in many areas. And so this is what you're celebrating, and this is what you're asking all of those who would have gone through the halls of the St. Michael's School or who observed the St. Michael's School to join you in. What's happening? Why are you having this?
So we started a massive refurbishment project at the school in partnership with the Board of Management. The school, the St. Michael's School, is celebrating its 94th year this year. And naturally, the facilities that have been there for 94 years, sometimes they need a little bit of love. So we started refurbishing the girls' washroom area, And we were able to do that phenomenally in 2019, 2020. So the occasion is to raise funds for the boys. As you can see, that is what the bathrooms used to look like before. And we've brought them into the 21st century for our young ladies. But of course, our young gentlemen deserve similar facilities. So this initiative that we have piloted, the St. Michael School PTA, really is to raise funds to support the Board of Management in a similar refurbishment effort for the boys. And it's called From SMS with Love. It is a fundraising virtual concert. We are absolutely proud to have partnered with Dr. Ford, the head of the music department, to identify excellent talent from current students as well as students from the alumni. And it's just going to be fantastic. I was there when we recorded the performances, and Pearson, I have to tell you, these young people have such phenomenal talent. They can hold their own on America's Got Talent, or Britain's Got Talent, or whatever. And I'm just really proud to have, or Beige to the World, definitely. So I'm absolutely honored to lead a team at the executive, and I want to say good morning to the phenomenal executive members of the SMS PTA, to be able to provide these youth with this fantastic opportunity while at the same time doing such meaningful work for the school. So we're starting Saturday night at 7:30 sharp. We want persons to go on ticketpalcaribbean.com and secure your spaces so that you can pull up your chair on Saturday night and get your glass of wine or your hot chocolate or whatever floats your boat with your family, because it is certainly a family event, and celebrate with us as we support the school in improving the quality of the experience there for the students, in anticipation, of course, of a return to face-to-face in the very near future.
I'm so glad that you've turned your attention to the boys' bathroom as well. You know, oftentimes the males are overlooked. They figure, oh, you could rough it, but the girls need to have this. They need to be all powdered and pretty. But I'm glad that you're taking some time to do so. So it's a virtual concert this Saturday, folks. It's online, but you need to get your ticket now. And by getting your ticket, you are supporting the refurbishment project, because all funds will go towards that. And you go to ticketpal.com, and purchase your ticket. And once you have your ticket, you can sit down in your own comfort, in your own space, wherever you are across the world, and enjoy the talent of the St. Michael School. So, having said the talent, who's on the card to perform in this virtual concert from SMS with Love?
So Pearson, our headline act is a former SMS girl, Mahalia. Mahalia Cummins of 2 Mile Hill. She is our headline act. We also have Kiamal Nurse, who is an international soca star and SMS alum. Kurt Brown, another very well-known SMS alum. And we have some up-and-coming talent as well. So there's Kenya Prescott, Julia Boyce, Christian Reed, and some friends of SMS have come on board. I am very pleased to announce that Santa Blossom, who distinguished herself most recently in several competitions, and she's now gone on to be a hotel singer. She's also a friend of SMS who's on board. We have Rum and Coke, Janine White, who's an SMS alum, is on board. So it's going to be a nice pillow of entertainment in terms of musical and instrumental talent, as well as theatrical talent. And we are really proud of the production. We really want persons to secure the tickets, come and help us to celebrate these young people. You know, in the past we used to run a bingo event, and we really have to encourage also those persons who look forward to that every year, but certainly because of the challenges trying to host face-to-face, and then that audience used to be a very senior audience as well. So we really had to pivot and find a different way to raise funds. And so we want to encourage those persons who would have been looking forward to seeing the bingo to put your support behind the concert this year. Help us to raise important funding so that we can enhance the quality of life for the students at the SMS. And as you mentioned, Pearson, the Cougars have been distinguishing themselves nationally in athletics for the last
Yes.
3 or 4 years. At one point in time, we had both the girls and the boys in
That's
the
right.
athletics, in BSAC, and it really is about supporting them as well, and the experience that they have. It's nice, and it's very important for us to continue as a nation to provide quality education, but that must be twinned with quality facilities so that again when the children return to school that they can feel that level of pride and comfort in the environment that they're in.
You're absolutely right. And when you speak of pioneering, I recall you were the first to do St. Michael's School to do night sports. And then subsequently thereafter, everybody wanted to go and do it as well at night. So you led the way in that, and you continue to lead the way through your performance in education, your performance in sport, and so many other areas. Look at the card that you have for this virtual concert. The cream of the crop of Barbadian entertainers coming from the St. Michael's School, Mahalia, Kiomal, Kirk Brown, and so many others who are going to be on stage this Saturday. It's at 7:30, and of course, once you get your ticket, it gives you the link to which you can watch this virtual concert. We want to encourage all of you. Now, that link, that Zoom link, is not transferable, so don't say, I'll buy it and I'll share it with whoever. No, it doesn't work that way. But most of all of your funds will go towards that school refurbishment project of the boys' bathroom, and we want to encourage all of you today to get your ticket from ticketpal.com. It's going to be fantastic, and it's this Saturday, 7:30. I can't wait. I could only wish much success with this effort, Crystal, because other schools have been doing, and St. Michael's School will do it too, and you will show them that you can do it even better, right? Hint, hint.
Yeah, everything that we do at the St. Michael's School, we always strive for excellence, and we always strive certainly to set the trend. So we're really looking forward to doing that with entertainment time around. As you said, we've done it with sports, and now here's an opportunity for us to really showcase the beauty of the talent of our young people at the school. And I can't say enough how proud I am of the hard-working team in the SMS executive who worked tirelessly to pull this production together. So all we need, Barbados, is you to join us this Saturday night. And Pearson, I must tell you, I'm very excited because it's my birthday this Saturday.
You serious?
So it's a birthday present for me.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You will be sharing that day, that celebration, with my godsons. Christopher and Michael will be celebrating their birthday on the 5th as well. Look at this world.
Awesome.
Small world.
Yeah.
These are two awesome boys indeed.
Good people.
I can concur, indeed. So thank you, Crystal. Thank you so much. I could only wish success with this endeavor. I hope that many people go to ticketpal.com and get your seat to be a part of this virtual concert on Saturday. It starts at 7:30 on Zoom. The link is not transferable, but every subscription, every person who purchases a ticket goes towards this very worthy cause of refurbishment of the boys' bathrooms, boys' facilities at the St. Michael's School. So had you been there, if you had a relative who's been there, my sister went to school there, and if you just love the school because you're passionate about what they're performing and they've done, then you can be a part of this as well. If you don't even know anything about it, you can be still a part of the virtual concert. Whether you're here in Barbados or anywhere around the world, you can be a part of this virtual concert. Ticketpal.com is the entry way in. Thank you so much, Crystal. Now you stick around because you're going to be joining us in just a moment as we share a little bit more here on Morning Barbados. So we'll be right back with even more right here on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
These young ladies continue to do phenomenal work, especially this one who is a familiar face to all of us here on Morning Barbados. We continue to celebrate all of the really great ways in which she's been contributing to the development of our community. Brittany Seeley, as we know her, the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Work Consultancy Inc. She's also today sharing that title with being the organizer of Careers of the Future Student Conference. And joining her is our previous guest, Crystal Austin. Both are the organizers of that. Good morning, both of you ladies.
Good morning, Pearson.
Good morning, Britt. How are you today?
Very special when I get called Brit on live television.
That's because that's the way we feel. That's the relationship we've had with you and we've developed over the time, the months we spend together here. And you know, you continue to do phenomenal work through your advice to our audience and the work that you do to those who also avail themselves of your service through Work Consultancy Inc. And I just want to say a big thank you to all that you've been able to contribute to the development of our community.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. And here we are now, you're doing even more, launching this conference called Careers of the Future Student. And what a title in itself. Explain for us why Careers of the Future Student.
Now, interestingly enough, this event was pioneered by my co-producer, Crystal Austin, and it was founded based on an initiative Michael School. So I actually encourage you, Crystal, to now jump in and share your vision behind Careers of the Future. Go ahead.
Thanks, Brittany. And let me start by saying it is really a privilege to be working with Brittany, or as I know her as Brit. Yeah, Brittany is a phenomenal young person. We would have met a couple years back working with a mutual friend, Lisa Gale. Good morning, Lisa. And since then, I have just always thought, you know, it would be awesome to work with Brittany on different initiatives. And we have worked together in the past before. So when I conceptualized this initiative, Careers of the Future, she was the first person that came to mind. And the vision, Pearson, behind this initiative is to seed our young people with the idea, first and foremost, that they can be innovators and inventors. We are together 20 speakers who will talk to our secondary school students, all 20,000 of them, thanks to the Ministry of Education, on those burgeoning careers. We're talking robotics, biotech, the blue economy, virtual reality, aquaponics, green engineering, the orange economy, and so much more, to ensure that as they prepare for their lives after school, whether it is to go to college or to go straight into the world of work, that they bear in mind that the world that they are inheriting is not the one of their parents or even their grandparents. We are in a disruptive world, excuse me, in a very disruptive age. And these burgeoning careers, as I mentioned before, are the ones that they ought to be looking to. And it is my firm belief that Barbados should and can earn its share not only of investment in these sectors, but jobs in these sectors. But we have to start somewhere, and so my vision is to provide our youth with the opportunity to learn from persons, exemplars in these areas directly, how they can study for these careers, where they can study, and certainly if there are any internship opportunities available. But by and large, as I said earlier, to help them to understand that they can innovate and invent and to meet persons who are in such disruptive and trailblazing career areas.
It's for the student, it's a student experience, and I'm glad you're saying what you're saying simply because oftentimes we get international colleges coming here to do their own fairs, and we're saying, no, we can do this ourselves as well. We have the capacity to be able to offer to our young people and our students on the island exposure to those who are already in those respective fields and to broaden their thinking, broaden their horizons and look at the opportunities. I know over time, Brittany, we've also looked at having been exposed, what does one now do to get oneself ready for the next stage? What's the role that Work in Consultancy Inc. will be playing in this upcoming conference?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, we are a development company, so we focus on professional development, and we're very excited to really be zeroing in on the social development of Barbados. And so when Crystal gave me a call and she had this phenomenal idea, we absolutely had to partner with her to ensure that the event was inclusive and it targeted as many students as possible. We're also working with a number of sponsors to make the event as equitable as possible. So for example, those students who are differently abled, they too can be pioneers, they too can be innovators and trailblazers. And so we're going above and beyond to even have sign language interpreters share at the conference, have them on screen, and ensure that all videos are outfitted with subtitles. Just so that you benefit from this event. And above that, I know that you had Raquan on earlier this morning. So we have a span and an array of different career fields. So I know that, for example, those students who are interested in the orange economy, they can learn how they can take their passions and their purpose to the next level. So we're very excited for this groundbreaking conference.
And now you have me equally excited. I'm too old for it, but I'm equally excited about it indeed. It's going to be, because you're trying to host 20,000 students. That's a lot of people. So we can't fit them all into one literal space, but we can certainly fit them into the virtual space. So Crystal, how are people going to access all of this, what this conference offers?
Actually, I think that Brittany's probably better placed to answer.
Why am I
that
getting it
question.
so wrong today? So, Brittany, how can people really access?
We are a dynamic duo.
Yes.
We're a dynamic duo, and we play on our strengths, and we fit together like a jigsaw. You know, I always say I'm an ideas person. Brittany is definitely an execution person.
All right. So, Brittany,
over to you,
explain to us the execution.
Sure. Well, this event was not easy. And you mentioned a keyword. You said that we are trying, but in fact, we will be easily hosting approximately 20,000 secondary school students on the platform on February 8th and 9th. And we're going to do so using you. So we have designed a very special arrangement with our team. We're going to have a number of assistants on the day in partnership with another organization to make this event possible. So students are going to be able to be engaged. They're going to go to different sessions. They're going to be able to win giveaway prizes. This will be a conference that they do not want to miss, and it will absolutely be possible because we're in the virtual world, so there are many more opportunities available.
Do they need to register though?
No, what we're doing, we're providing a main link because remember, we're partnering very closely with the Ministry of Education.
Yes.
So there will be a main session link, and then our team would be able to navigate students' sessions all on YouTube throughout the day. So this is something you've never really heard about before in terms of the technical aspect of arranging such a mammoth conference, but
right.
It will be one that hopefully goes down the country's history books.
You know, we have regional viewers and international viewers as well who watch, and they're probably getting jealous. They want to join too. I can hear my friend Sonia in Nevis is thinking, you know, but I have young people here who would want to be a part of this. But is it only for those who are from Barbados, or any student anywhere watching today who's curious enough, can they join?
At this time, it's only for persons who are in Barbados, again, because we're working closely
with the Ministry of Education
with the Ministry of provisions made in the future to be able to facilitate other islands and other territories. But I think it's important to mention here that we do have a website, careersofthefuture.com. And on that website, students would be able to access all of the session recordings afterwards, because this is not just a one-time event. We want them to be able to go back, revisit these topics, explore sessions which they did not attend, and even make better decisions about their career future at 10, 11, 12 years old. So because that site would be open to the public, persons can go on there to view the recordings, but they won't be able to actually attend the conference live on the day.
So Crystal, now you know.
Yeah, I was actually going to make that point too,
yes.
Kirsten, that Subsequent to the event, which is February 8th and 9th from 9 to 3 daily, we will have the videos uploaded to our site. So if you missed it, and you don't even have to be a student to go and watch those videos, because I know there are some adults who are looking for something to do entrepreneurially. You can go onto the site from as soon as, I believe, the 10th or so. We should have the videos up and listen to the videos from the presentations on demand. And we really are happy to have partnered with the Ministry of Education. For me personally, it is an opportunity for us to really catapult the educational reform process and make it a more student-centric approach, or make a more student-centric approach of it, wherein the students get to engage and ask questions with these persons and network with them even afterwards. As Brittany mentioned before, the initiative was piloted at the St. Michael's School, and coming out of that, there were relationships established where persons reached out to some of the speakers afterwards, and that's really what we want. We want to create that network where young people can say they have within their arsenal of contacts these types of experts that they can interact with beyond the conference, to perhaps build mentorship type relationships with them. And we want to work with the Ministry of Education to see how we can further roll out this program, maybe at the level of the curriculum. I'm speaking it into being, so that we can build these types of from theory to practice exercises quickly into the school system, and help the children to move from just the reading, writing, arithmetic type style of education we've had to one that really shows them how exciting and dynamic, and I love the word disruptive, the world has become digital age, and making sure that we can maximize their potential to enter into those sectors.
Well, I'm telling you, our social media people are active. Awesome initiative of our young people. Thank you so much for sharing this information. Another one referred to you as the dynamic duo. This is fantastic. And I challenge both of you, because something tells me with the success of this, forces on the 8th and the 9th of February, 9 to 3, both days, coming through our schools, through the Ministry of Education. I want every student, over 20,000 of you, to engage with this. The success of this model will be replicated, I suspect, across the region. The demand will come. And I know both of you are up to that demand, to respond to that demand as well. Crystal Austin and Brittany Seeley, as always, thank you so much. Thank you very, very much for this initiative, and thank you so much for taking the opportunity to come talk to us about it as well. I hope that many students avail themselves of it on the 8th and the 9th. Thank you, and success with this.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Pearson.
you so much, Pearson.
You're welcome. Have a great day, ladies. Thank you. There they go, the dynamic duo, as referenced by one of our social media commenters. We're going to take a break right here. We're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're sharing with you what's going on this island of ours called Barbados, and then there's such talent, amazing talent among our people indeed. One of them